This is breaking news.
Selena Gomez American actress and singer. Selena Gomez, born July 22, 1992, Grand Prairie, Texas, U.S., American actress and singer who won legions of young fans as the winsome star of the Disney television series Wizards of Waverly Place, 2007-12, and as a pop vocalist. Gomez, who was named after the popular Tejano singer Selena Quintanilla Perez, was raised in suburban Dallas. Inspired by her mother, an amateur actress, Gomez tried out for a role on the PBS children's television series Barney and Friends, and as a result appeared regularly on the program in 2002-4. After making her big screen debut in the family movie Spy Kids 3D, Game Over, 2003, she auditioned for the Disney Channel, which eventually led to a guest spot on the TV series The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. In 2007, Gomez was cast as Alex Russo, a mischievous tomboy with magical powers, on a new Disney sitcom, Wizards of Waverly Place. The show, for which she also sang the theme song, became an instant hit among the preteen set, and she earned favorable comparisons to the channel's leading ingenue, Miley Cyrus. While continuing to star in Wizards of Waverly Place, Gomez acted in various tween-oriented videos and TV movies and provided a voice for the animated feature Horton Hears, 2008. She then landed lead roles in the theatrical film Ramona and Beezus, 2010, which was based on a children's novel by Beverly Cleary, and the romantic comedy Monte Carlo, 2011. Gomez departed from her family-friendly image with a role as a college student seeking adventure in Florida in The Lurid Spring Breakers, 2012. She then portrayed the girlfriend of a college student who was killed in a shooting on campus in the drama Rudderless, 2014, and a sorority sister in Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising, 2016. Gomez also voiced a character in the animated Hotel Transylvania, 2012, and its sequels, 2015-2018, as well as Dolittle, 2020. In 2019, she appeared in Jim Jarmusch's zombie movie The Dead Don't Die and in Woody Allen's A Rainy Day in New York. She returned to TV for Only Murders in the Building, 2020, in which she co-starred with Steve Martin and Martin Short as an unlikely crime-solving trio. Gomez ventured into music as the frontwoman of Selena Gomez and the Scene, an electronic-influenced pop band that produced several dance hits. The group released the albums Kiss and Tell, 2009, A Year Without Rain, 2010, and When the Sun Goes Down, 2011, before announcing its separation in 2012. Gomez then forged a solo career with Stars Dance, 2013, which featured the seductive single Come and Get It. Subsequent solo albums included Revival, 2015, and Rare, 2020, the latter of which yielded the hit ballad Lose You to Love Me. As Gomez transitioned into adulthood, her fame was undoubtedly magnified by a romantic relationship with pop singer Justin Bieber. She was also known for her philanthropic work, much of it accomplished through UNICEF, which in 2009 appointed her a Goodwill Ambassador. In 2015, Gomez revealed that she had been diagnosed with lupus. As a result of complications from the disease, she had a kidney transplant in 2017. During this time, Gomez was also candid about her struggles with depression and anxiety, and in 2020, she revealed that she had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. In the documentary Selena Gomez, My Mind and Me, 2022, she discussed her mental health and her struggles with fame. Singing, the production of musical tones by means of the human voice. In its physical aspect, singing has a well-defined technique that depends on the use of the lungs, which act as an air supply or bellows, on the larynx, which acts as a reed or vibrator, on the chest and head cavities, which have the function of an amplifier, as the tube in a wind instrument, and on the tongue, which together with the palate, teeth, and lips articulate and impose consonants and vowels on the amplified sound. Though these four mechanisms function independently, they are nevertheless coordinated in the establishment of a vocal technique and are made to interact upon one another. Singing is distinguished from speaking by the manner in which the breath is expended to vibrate the vocal cords. Singing requires more breath the louder, higher, and longer one sings. It also requires that the emission of breath be more firmly controlled. A pertinent analogy is the function of the instrumentalist's breath in playing a reed instrument, a clarinet, an oboe, or a saxophone. The technique of singing depends ultimately on the coordination of the various anatomical mechanisms in order to produce a propulsion of sound in a steady flow. A further distinction between singing and speaking is the control that is required in singing of the movement and reflexes of the larynx. As one sings higher, the larynx tends to rise sympathetically and at a certain point becomes an interference causing the voice to break or crack. Western singing is distinguished above all by its volume. Singers of other cultures may have a wider range, particularly a greater upward extension, but it is doubtful that they have sung louder. Western singing is also distinguished by its concern with pure sound, with the tone quality or timbre, and with color, with what is felt to be the sheer beauty of the voice itself. Both singers and their listeners, in Western music more than any other, have tended to lose sight of song's roots in language and to think of singing as a purely instrumental production. Modern Western styles of singing largely derive from the Italian bel canto, which had its origin in a style associated with the polyphonic music of the 16th century. Because this music expressed the significance or the moods of the text, a great range of expression was required from the singers, who, in these polyphonic works, assumed something of the function of a vocal orchestra. The art of singing accordingly evolved to allow the singers the maximum power and variety of expression. See also bel canto. Bel canto singing from the 17th through the early 19th century was built primarily on the recognition that the intensity of vocal tone on a single note may be increased or diminished. The varying of this intensity was known as the messa de voce. There is, however, a difference between variation in intensity and variation in volume of vocal tone. The style depended on the technique of intensity, that is, tone was varied by increasing or decreasing the air pressure on the glottal lips and not by enlarging the oral chamber, which merely resulted in a larger tonal volume. The style was also based on the principle that the voice has two tones, a diapason tone produced when the larynx is in a relatively low position, and a flute tone when the larynx assumes a higher position. These distinctions, however, were largely obliterated when a broader style of singing was introduced by Richard Wagner and later composers. Physical aspects of the technique of bel canto singing demanded a stance in which the chest was raised and the stomach drawn in, the raising of the soft palate together with a corresponding lowering of the larynx, and the drawing back of the chin with the effect of opening the throat. Correct breathing was above all essential, and the Italians went so far as to declare that he who knows how to breathe can sing. By a contraction of the upper abdominal muscles, control is achieved over the diaphragm, which thus enables the flow of air pressure from the lungs to be kept steady. This principle, which was the basis of singing in the 18th century, was later adopted by the Spanish tenor Manuel Garcia, who declared that the lungs are for tone emission, the glottis is for pitch, the oral cavity is for vowel and timbre, and the front of the mouth is for consonants. The function of the diaphragm is to regulate the pressure of air, while the larynx, as a nozzle in a water spray, determines the nature of the flow. With the muscles in appropriate position and the reserve of air under proper control, accented notes in singing are given their full value not as startling percussive notes, but in the manner of an accented note produced by a violinist who prepares his effect by the proper placing of his bow. An exercise known as vibration enables the singer to control the voice at the larynx, and by attacking a note softly, to increase the volume by pressure of the larynx. Later schools of singing paid much attention to the resonation of the voice in the mass, that is, the cavities of the head, though this resonation did not affect the radiative power of the voice but only its volume. These singers, and also the still later parlando singers, who affected a union of speech and singing, made a conscious use of resonation in this way and differed from the bel canto singers in that they exercised less control over physical mechanisms. The development of the orchestra by Hector Berlioz, Giuseppe Verdi, and Wagner in the 19th century encouraged singers to seek means of amplifying their voices by methods of resonation unknown in the bel canto style, and a new method was established of singing on resonance. Jean de Rest, who emphasized the function of the nose in resonation, was the main exponent of this school. Apart from the facial mask and the nose, other resonators were held to be the hard palate and the teeth. Demands made on the voice by the Romantic operatic composers transformed the principles of the style, largely because the human voice would have been submerged by the vast orchestral resources drawn upon by these composers.